Tonight, the A-League finals kick off with Melbourne City hosting the Brisbane Roar, the last team to scrape into the top six. That's ahead of an age-old rivalry which continues on Sunday. Victory hosting Adelaide United. To take us through all the elimination finals, former Socceroo and ABC Grandstand expert Simon Colosimo. Simon, good morning to you. Welcome back to News Breakfast. Let's focus on the first elimination final happening tonight. City up against Roar. How do you see this playing out? Both sides not in amazing form.
No, they're not. I think City will go in as favourites. However, Roar have got a lot of experience. You touched on them just sneaking into the finals, but they've played a final probably for the last month. Every game has been a final to give them that last position. And with the experience that they have, they will give City a good run. They
do have a good fighting spirit, that can't be denied. But when it comes to City, the re-inclusion of Bruno Fornaroli, now back from injury, how much of a difference has that made in terms of their general play?
Yeah, look, I think Bruno's a key, well, he would be a key part to any team in the A-League, but himself and also Daniel Azani, he's come onto the scene and he's just a bag of excitement every time he gets the ball. You just want him to run at defenders, and he seems to have formed a really good combination with Bruno. And they're probably the two in-form attackers in the league at the moment. And if City can get the ball to them too early in the game and let them have a go at Brisbane's defence, they'll definitely cause them problems.
Is there a concern then for the Roar that maybe they've already played their final series?
Looking at Roar's list, they've been excellent when they've had everyone on the park. They've had some injury problems. I think the key to Roar is Brett Holman. If they can get him up and get him through the game, then he'll definitely be a key for them. And they've got so much experience. I mean, a lot of this team has won championships with Brisbane Roar. They're coming to the twilight, however, they do know how to win games and win finals.
And of course, Melbourne City will have the advantage. That game will take place in Melbourne. The other elimination final on Sunday, also happening in Melbourne. Melbourne Victory up against Adelaide United. Again, there is an argument, both of these teams, patchy form as well. Can Adelaide pull off an upset here?
Look, Adelaide's the team that's probably in the top six been most inconsistent. When I say the reason I say that is they've either been on, where they're very, very good, or off. There's no in between for them. So if they can bring their game, they'll cause problems for Melbourne Victory. But I still believe Victory at home, they'll have a big crowd. Amy Park will be, very, very colourful, very blue, and I think they'll get up in the end.
Of course, they've got the Kevin Muscat factor as well to help them out. Simon, we saw the news yesterday that Josep Gombau no longer will be the head coach of the Western Sydney Wanderers. Was that the right call?
Well, I think it shows the maturity in the league. If you see the squad that Josep, and granted that he got it he arrived 5 or 6 weeks into the season. The Western Sydney Wanderers squad is a wonderful squad, and on paper they should have been probably in the top 2 hosting a home semi-final next week. They didn't. There was talk of unrest in the playing group, and he didn't quite get it right. But it does show the maturity of Western Sydney Wanderers, where it's not good enough not to make finals. They demand success. They're a club that has been successful, and they move on from here.
Do we know of any contenders yet for maybe that top role?
I've got no idea. Yeah. I'm going to be hitting the phone all day today to try and see. But I've got no idea. I don't know whether it's going to be an Australian overseas coach. But I'm sure that they'll take their time to get that right.
And Simon, of course, all of these teams who are taking part in the A-League finals, they do have to focus on their matches at hand, but I'm sure there is also in the back of their mind a question: how do we defeat Sydney FC? How do they do that?
Well, I don't think anyone's got that answer. Look, Sydney have been wonderful for the last 24 months, where they've just continued. They're just so regimented in the way they play, and you really have to play the perfect game against them. They'll be under pressure, Sydney, because there'll be that expectation. Graham's going off to the Socceroos post this. They'll want to send him off with a win. Look, I think every team can if they're really on. Melbourne City is probably the dark horse that I think, with that excitement of Fornaroli and Azani, if the rest of the team can defend and keep Sydney out, then I think they're a chance.
Oh, it's a task at hand, though. Very, very big one. Simon Colosimo, thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the weekend's games.
Thank you.